So, ladies and gentlemen, what if I tell you this guy signed the first 10-year contract in MLB history, and basically it's considered the top free agent baby of the advent of it in the mid-1970s. And I think he originated the term no one's ever paid what they're not worth. Wayne Garland, Marcus Wayne Garland, boys, what a classic name in history. Native of Nashville, is retired from pro baseball, of course. He was a right-hander. He pitched in the major leagues for 9 seasons, from 73 to 81, for the Orioles between 73 and 76, and the Indians from 77 to 81. He was one of the first 24 ball players who profited from the advent of free agency following the 76 season, when he became the first MLB player, again, to sign a decade-long contract. Born on October 26, 1950 in Nashville, he played both basketball and baseball at Cone High School in Nashville. Drafted by Pirates in the 5th round of the 68 Major League Baseball draft, he did not sign and attended Gulf Coast Junior College instead. He was then selected in the 69 Major League Baseball draft by the Cardinals, but again, did not sign. The Orioles eventually drafted him in the 69 secondary draft and inked him to a contract. Now, the right-hander pitched for several years in the minor leagues, posting generally lackluster numbers, with a 7-9 record in 72 and 10-11 in 73. However, in 73, he led the Rochester Red Wings with 141 strikeouts. He was called up to the major leagues in September 73, and he's made his debut on September 13th. In his first start on September 27th, Garland was a losing pitcher. After spring training in 74, he was sent back to Rochester, but was called up in May as a relief pitcher. Now, over the season, he made 6 starts, including a game when he pitched 8 innings of no-hit baseball. He continued pitching mostly in relief in 75 and the first half of 76. Now, after the Orioles traded Ken Holtzman and Doyle Alexander to the New York Yankees in June, a spot in the starting rotation opened for Garland. He made the most of his opportunity with a 10-2 record by July and finished with 20 wins against 7 losses. He played 76 without a contract and rejected a midseason contract offer from the Orioles at $40,000, which allowed him to become a free agent. Garland did not get along with manager Earl Weaver, what a surprise, and was prepared to leave the team. Now, the site's decision allowed players to become free agents for the first time, and some 25 players entered the 76 free agent re-entry draft, which will allow teams to draft negotiating rights with players. Garland was selected to the draft by 12 teams, the maximum allowed. He eventually signed a 10-year contract with the Indians. Word reported, get this, $2.3 million, one of the richest of that initial free agent class. And of course, he said, no free agent is paid what he's not worth. This was the first 10-year contract for a player in Major League history. Now, Garland had a 13-9 record and .359 ERA. That 77 season, began to feel pain in his pitching arm. In the first spring training game of 78, he injured that arm, but continued pitching after receiving cortisone. After 6 regular season starts, he was diagnosed with a torn rotator cuff and underwent surgery. He would sit out the rest of the season. While he recovered. Now, returned in 79, but made 2 more stints on disabled lists and finished the year with a record of 4-10. Garland's 1980 campaign was a bit better, as he threw 150 innings for Cleveland and had a record of 6-9, and threw a 2-hit shutout on July 3rd. The 81 season was interrupted by a player strike that lasted 2 months. He then worked as a knuckleballer to overcome the shoulder injuries that damaged his arm. After that season, Garland was released by the Indians. After being released, he was unable to get a tryout with any major league team or any AAA minor league affiliate. He attempted to come back as a knuckleballer with the Yankees' AA minor league affiliate, but was released before getting another chance in the major leagues. Now, in the late 80s, he was a pitching coach for the Nashville Sounds and worked in the Pirates organizations as a coach in the 90s, but a sore back, one that required 6 surgeries, derailed him from continuing to serve as a coach. Now, Lee Montville did a very interesting article for Sports Illustrated in 1980 called "The First to Be Free." Now, the idea of the historic contract, he also did an article with the LA Times. It was quite interesting. we're quoting from Mike Tully's article from UPI, which appeared in New York Times, or the LA Times, excuse me. Wayne Garland can recite the conversation word for word even 11 years later. This was in March of '88. His agent, Jerry Kapstein, had called with news of a deal with the Cleveland Indians. All he needed was a signature. He said, Wayne, I didn't get you $1 million. Garland recalled recently. I said, Jerry, I'm sure you did the best you could. He said, you got a 10-year contract for over $2 million. I said, Jerry, I'm not worth it. He said, oh, well, obviously, someone thinks you are. Someone did. The Indians had finished fourth in '76 and wanting to improve their pitching, offered Garland $2.3 million over 10 years. He didn't know it then, but that deal would hurl him into baseball history. His case symbolized a debate that may produce a strike again in 1990. How much money is too much and at what risk to the club? Garland took a 27 record with the 76 Orioles into the open market, showing what the right pitcher could earn from the right employer. A torn rotator cuff, however, made him an example of how investments can go wrong. Now, he did the article in '88 when he was coaching again for Nashville of the AA, and he basically said the 6 foot, 195 pound right-hander said he took a gamble. It's the biggest risk I ever took. God forbid if I hurt my arm. Now, that year, of course, Reggie went to New York. Bobby Grich went to the Angels. They all prospered in markets in which clubs were eager to spend. Garland says he and Kapstein discussed the possibility of a 5-year deal worth $1 million. Then came Cleveland's offer. He called his mom and broke the news to her, just as Kapstein had broken it to him. I said, I didn't get my $1 million. She said, money's not everything. I said, I got $2 million. And she said, you're not worth it. I carried that for a long time, Garland said. I remember what Jerry Kapstein said, if somebody thought you were worth it, you were. That pretty well sums it up, and he's either been quoted or misquoted. He said no one's ever paid what they're not worth. Now, he did, again, go 13 and 19 in '77, but, Cleveland weren't going to chase the Yankees or Red Sox, and later the Tigers. This year was weird, of course, for the Indians because manager Frank Robinson was fired, and he never reached, fourth place again. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the story of a guy. That is a trivia question. Who was the first 10-year contract player in MLB history? And figure out this. I think Reggie was getting between $325,000 and $700,000 when he signed with the Yankees, but it wasn't a 10-year contract. There was no way in the world that Wayne Garland should give it a 10-year contract. Maybe 5 and, deferred payments or whatever. But I saw Garland pitch, and like I said, he wasn't the best, but he wasn't the worst. He was your typical Bryn Smith, 13 and 12 record, or Ray Burris, or, even a Ross Grimsley. But to say he was worth 10 years and 2-point-some million, I don't think so. People may say you never paid what you're worth, not what you're worth. But, it is what it is. And that, from 77 on, is 47 years in free agency, and people are still reviewing this case when there's been courses about free agency in Major League Baseball that are given, and Garland is the test case. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what we're doing with our vintage baseball podcast, let us know with a like, comment, subscribe, or share. Bye.